Hello, my friends. Welcome. So, the other day I sent an email through to my list and I asked them through a poll what they wanted to hear from me most. And although responses are still filtering through, almost 50% of the responses being about coaching, personalized coaching when it comes to holistic transformation. What I wanted to do was create a video to talk about what holistic transformation is and give you a brief rundown on how you can use this information in your own life if you've never worked with a coach or a therapist. If I've never met you before, my name is Ariana. I'm a holistic therapist and coach. I've worked as an emotions mentor in large corporate companies. And I have also opened up my own coaching business where I use lots of different holistic practices to support my clients. And I've seen some incredible results with people that I've worked with. When I first start working with people, there's generally something that comes up that they're not happy with. They feel like they have everything in their lives, but maybe there's something that's kind of not working for them, or they feel just off. Have you ever had that feeling where you just feel off about something? Maybe things are going really well in your life, but you don't feel like the way you think you should be feeling, or you have done a lot of work, your physical health, but your emotions are derailing you. Quite often, this is what I experience when I work with clients for the first time, is that they have just something that's not working for them. They have this idea of what they want, but they're just not sure how to get it. And when we start to zoom out on the picture of their life, I am able to look down at their life like a map and see, out of all of the different areas of their life, why are some areas working really well and other areas just are not? Us as humans, we tend to compartmentalize ourselves. I know I've done this so many times. Say you're an ambitious, career-driven person where you have this idea that you want to achieve a certain result within your career. And the more driven you are to make sure that that goal is achieved, somehow you lose track on other things in your life, like your relationships or your mental or your physical health. And so there's this lopsidedness that starts to occur when we give all of our attention and all of our focus on areas of our life at the expense of other areas. From a holistic transformation point of view, what I aim to do with you as a client is look at all of the areas of your life and see if you can find a beautiful, happy medium where you're focusing your attention on all of those areas in a way that makes you feel really good and prosperous. And so with these videos, what I'm hoping to do is, if you don't work with me, you're able to then take the information that I share with you and apply it to your own life to see, is there any lopsidedness? Is there something that you could gently tug at within your current experience that would make life a little bit easier on all the other areas of your life? I see it like a spider web, right? Where everything is interconnected. And when you pull on one area of the spider web, everything kind of moves with it. And so often we think that because one area may not necessarily be related to the other area, we think that they don't have any effect on one another, but they really do. So with that in mind, let's get into today's topic. Holistic health is an area of study and interest that involves all parts of your health. It involves your physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, and then we have your energetic health as well, which energy and energy medicine encompasses all of the above. So if you move your physical body in a certain way, there are elements of your movement practice that can affect your energy system. When you think a certain thought, that sends an electrical impulse through your brain and into your body, which creates emotions. And both of those things have an impact on your energetic body. And your spiritual health is so separate from your religion. It is the spirit that lives within you, the spirit that guides your soul's existence and the way that you move through the world. Every single part of us affects our energy system, and our energy system affects every single part of it. So mostly when people talk about holistic health, they speak about the four elements: the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, and the physical. and the mental, but they don't necessarily talk about the energetic as well. And so that in itself, I like to talk about because it's like a little cocoon, right? It cocoons everything in and it kind of encapsulates everything in it. And my work in energy medicine really does support all aspects of our holistic health and well-being, regardless of what it is that you are looking for support in. When you look at your health holistically, I want you to get out of the mindset that this is a quick fix. Sometimes there is something that you can do which will immediately support a change in your life. But more often than not, holistic health aims to address the root causes of concerns and ailments within any of those bodies, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual. When you look at your health holistically, we try to understand where the discomfort, the dis-ease, and sometimes if something has been going on for an extended period of time, the disease, we try to look at where that comes from. It gets quite deep because when you think a thought for a very long time, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that thought can create an avalanche of symptoms within your physical body. There's been many studies done when it comes to the power of our thoughts and how our thoughts affect our emotions and how our emotions create chemical reactions within the body. And if we're not able to process those emotions in a helpful and supportive way, those chemicals can dig themselves into our physical bodies and create problems for us. And those problems can be as simple as tight shoulders or perhaps tight jaws, or they could create longer chronic issues that take a little bit more time to be solved. The one thing that I encourage you to do if you're looking at working holistically is to firstly be patient, because this might take a little bit longer than simply swallowing a pill and expecting some sort of reaction. Patience, consistency. This doesn't work by just doing something once. You have to commit to it over a long period of time. Small actions taken daily will result in a much greater result than doing one thing once at magnitude and expecting something to happen from that. So we really are starting to look at lifestyle changes here. You're looking at changing your identity to someone who, as an example, prioritizes their health and well-being, who has a regulated nervous system, not someone who does something once or twice and expects some things to change within their physical existence. So you really are getting to a point where you're shifting beliefs, you're shifting the way that you approach your life, and you're looking at it from a zoomed out perspective, considering that things take time to change and that you're in it for the long haul. People understand that they're having a concern in an area of their life, and they think that that concern, it only exists within their thoughts, let's say. And they go and speak to a talk therapist, someone who listens to them, and nothing really changes. It has to be said, when you think something and you say it out loud, it changes the way you feel about something, because quite often we need to just hear ourselves say something and it can create a subtle shift within our thought process that will change the trajectory of how we act. And that in itself can be enough. But what I find is that if people go and see a therapist and they've been seeing someone for a few months or a few years and nothing has changed, there seems to be a bit of a disconnect there. We aren't only people who think thoughts and have emotions. We also move through this world on a physical plane. In order for us to address holistic transformation in its entirety, we have to look at all parts of ourselves. We have to understand what makes us feel healthy. What are we consuming, both from foods, but also what are we watching? What are we listening to? Where are we focusing our attention? Who are we giving our attention to? And therefore, where are we giving our power away? That's the first thing. The second thing is, when it comes to your emotional and mental health, I would suggest being very, very clear around what your values are, and take a moment to consider whether you are engaging in activities that go against your values. As an example, if you are someone who values your health and your fitness, but every Friday and Saturday night you're spending it at the pub and you're writing yourself off, the chances are that those activities that you do on a weekend, they don't just deteriorate your physical body, they're also deteriorating your self-esteem. Because as someone who values health and fitness, if you are going out on a weekend and you're writing yourself off with alcohol and eating really badly, then slowly but surely you are eating away at the values that you have within yourself. And so there's this disconnect between what you actually value as who you are and your actions, what you're doing. And this disconnect, this misalignment can be the cause of great mental and emotional suffering. I highlight this example for you. It's a really, really simple example for you to see the difference between these two things, but there's so many more subtle examples that I can give you. Say you enjoy eating a certain diet. Maybe you have chosen to be a vegan, but your partner doesn't want to be a vegan, and just to keep the peace, and also because you don't want to have to cook two separate meals, you go about just eating whatever it is that your partner's eating because it's easier that way. Over time, if you truly believe that your body is meant to be vegan and you, from a soul perspective, want to eat a vegan diet, yet you are going against that, that in itself can create a misalignment. There are so many different ways that we can betray ourselves, that we can disregard our own desires, our own wants, our own needs, because of so many different reasons. And this in themselves can create this misalignment in our lives, and it can start to fester over time. I want you to sit and think about all the things that you value, and then look at your life to make sure that you're upholding those values. And if you're not, are there small changes that you can make that will allow you to lean into your value system just a little bit more? And it doesn't have to be huge, big shifts that you make immediately. Just take small steps towards what it is that your heart truly desires, what your soul craves. And over time, you'll develop more self-esteem, more trust in yourself. You'll develop the capacity to voice what it is that you want, to say the things that you truly want without worrying about the repercussions of those things. You'll be solid in yourself. You'll have trust that what's meant for you is on its way, and you will naturally find yourself following that path in a way that feels almost easy and natural. You may even look at that value system and see how your values relate to the different aspects of your holistic health. There's values in the way you treat your physical health. What do you like to eat? What don't you like to consume? How do you like to move your body? How often? Do you value sleep? If you value your sleep, are you getting enough good quality sleep? All of these sorts of things. When it comes to your mental and your emotional health, are you hanging out with people who don't really fill your cup? Do you feel connected to the people that you have in your life? Do you spend time in solitude if that's what you crave? Do you have meaningful relationships? Do you confide in people who you trust? Are those people that you trust trustworthy? All of these sorts of questions that you can delve into will really help to highlight whether or not you are living in alignment with not only your higher self, but your heart and soul's purpose. It's very easy in today's day and age to focus all of our attention on the things that we acquire and the things that we have. It's a dopamine rush to buy something new, to have the latest iPhone, or to live in a beautiful house with beautiful furnishings. And all of those things are so wonderful. And it's not about putting the things that we truly value aside because we want to live as minimalists. It's more about us not sacrificing the things that we truly value for the things that we think we should value. The amount of times I've seen people who chase after the dream of having things, and they work in jobs that they don't want to pay for things that they really don't care about because they think they should be doing those things. So take a moment to consider whether the things that you're buying on a regular basis or the things you're saving up for are truly what you want, what make you happy, or are they things that you just think you should be acquiring? And this can apply to so many things, not just material things, but if you were to go deeper, it's about the things that you truly want. Do you want to get married and have a family? Do you want to live in an apartment in a city? Do you want to spend your Friday nights out at the pub or at the yoga studio? This is really about getting rid of all of the clutter, not just physical, but the things that just fill your calendar, the things that you just do because you think you should be doing instead of doing what you truly desire, the things that really light a fire within you and the things that make you feel connected and on purpose in your life. Because here's the thing, if you continue to reach for things that you think you should be wanting, in itself, that is going to lead to not only burnout, but incredible unhappiness, dissatisfaction, and you'll find yourself in a place where you have everything but are so incredibly unhappy and you won't even know how to get out of the hole that you've just dug yourself in. So have a look to see of all the things that you have going on in your life, of the things that you're doing. Are you happy about them? Are you inspired by those things? Do they make you feel joyful? Do they make you feel like you could do it for the rest of your life and not feel burned out? There are so many benefits of what it means to live your life holistically. And if I were to narrow it down to a few, I would most certainly feel like I'm missing out on so many of them, because every single day that I live my life in this way, I notice new things that I'm so grateful for. But when it comes to my clients and the ways that this work supports them, four of the most profound things that I have noticed over the last year alone are the following. They have an increased resilience in how they manage life. So when life throws curveballs at them, they tend to manage it in a way that's graceful, that's composed. And I think the reason is because naturally what we do as part of this process of living holistically is we slow down. We slow down to notice where in my life are things a little bit unstable. If we don't slow down before we do that analysis, chances are that we will just pick at the wrong things and focus on the wrong things that have the least amount of impact. So we really have to slow down and take our time to assess where in our lives are things going really well, not just surface level, but like 7 levels deep. Where are things going really well, and where are the areas that we feel we could improve upon? And I ask that question at least 7 times because we want to get into the deepest layers of what's happening, not just surface level ideas or concerns, but deeper than just that. So there's this increased resilience because we've slowed down and now we're regulated. Our nervous system is regulated and we're able to then manage life's challenges in a way that feels really, really good. Even in the moment, if it's stressful or overwhelming, the management of that, the response to life's challenges is managed easier. The second thing is with that comes clarity. The clarity is in what are the next steps I want to take in my life? What direction am I going in? And how can I do that in a way that feels really good? Not how can I do that in a short sprint and then get to the other side and feel like I need to take a 5-day nap. It's about looking at where I want to go and then developing a plan with this regulated, calm presence. Look at where I want to go and then take steps daily, consistently, with patience towards the things that I truly want. The third thing, emotional and mental balance that they experience, where they're not reacting to everything, they're choosing their responses, and they are more grounded in their approach, not just at work, but in their personal lives as well, which ultimately leads to number 4, which is just better relationships all around, and not just better, but deeper connections with the people that they love and that they truly want to spend their time with. If you do decide to look at your life from a holistic perspective, it's not just a brief glance, pick something and quickly do it. It's more about slowing down and having a look at the map that is your life and considering with deep reflection and introspection, what are the things that truly light me up about the way I'm living, and where do I feel like I'm falling? Don't worry about what comes out of it, but just be honest with yourself when you look at it, and do that same exercise for about 3 or 4 days. Give yourself space and time in between those sessions so that you can come back to each of those question sessions with a fresh, clear perspective. And then look, after you've done those, look at what you've come up with to see if there are any connections, if there are any resounding at 100% capacity. Perhaps add that in at 10%, because my intention is never to overwhelm you. You want to do small, consistent actions. As an example, if you feel like you're overwhelmed, stressed out, and you're feeling anxious a lot of the time, even though everything is going really well in your life, even though you're moving your body, your business is going really well, your relationships seem to be pretty good, but you just have this feeling that just won't leave you, especially early in the morning. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to learn how to meditate and I'm going to do it every morning for an hour, which is what a lot of people do, spend at least 5 minutes in the morning meditating for the first week. And then the next week, do another 5 minutes, adding those 2 to 10. Then add another 5 minutes for the week after that. So your meditation is now 15 minutes, and gradually build up to the hour meditation so that the impact of you doing it consistently over a long period of time is greater than you just jumping in, doing an hour meditation for the first week and then never doing it again. You want to build these habits into your life, and you're dismantling years, maybe even decades of belief systems here. Because if you believe that meditation worked for you, you would have already done it. So it's not just the fact that you don't know how to meditate or that you haven't had the time. You're actually shifting your belief system about meditation. And you have to do this with consistency and with patience, and you're building up your self-esteem, or the esteem, the trust in the practice as well. All right, my friends, if you've got any questions, please let me know. I have a 6-day free mindfulness course that takes you through 6 mindful practices in short, bite-sized pieces for you to digest and for you to incorporate in your life slowly and consistently. The link is in the description below. If you've got any questions about anything that I've said today, please drop it in the comments section, or feel free to reach out to me via my website. And just remember, holistic transformation takes time. It's about looking at all the areas of your life and considering which of those pieces of the puzzle that is the map of you needs to be considered first and foremost. And then how can you develop a plan that isn't necessarily going to happen within a week or 2, but how can you develop a plan to support yourself to move the needle in that area, even if it's just a small little bit. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so now and hit the bell so you're notified of any new sessions as they're dropped. Bye for now.